All right, here we go again. Buckle up. So hopefully the prayers are still working to protect people. Again, that's the kind of the way healing works, and it's very difficult to prove that. It's just I've seen enough to know that it works like that. Right. Yeah, I might go take the wasp nest out myself. If I wait for these people, it'll probably take too long. They'll actually build a big nest instead of a little thing. I think they only have two wasps right now, but they're probably breeding. I don't know how what the gestation period is and all that. Right. That's what that is. Right. So I got to get this done, and 24 hours be able to knock it down. So I go get me some wasp killer from Menards or Walmart. Yeah, I think I drew probably the strangest physical therapist that works there. I mean, she's okay and she knows what she's doing, but she's definitely a different person. Right. Like the one day there, she kept changing the country music, to the song she wanted and stuff. Yeah, she's like a country girl. I don't know, she could grew up around here, but she's definitely country focused. So I just hope they're not a sex cult because the last time this happened to me, they turned out to be a sex cult. The last religious society I was in, they turned out to be a sex cult. So I hope these people aren't a sex cult. Yeah, they have more sex thing, the conversion stuff, Republican committees. But these are who these operators are too. They're because again they can't. They're projecting the sex cult sexuality into their victim, and then they point at their victim. But they got coverage where nobody finds out who they are. Right. In fact, some of them are actually Democrats, and they just work into the Republican system because they have an operation in the Republican system. So they walk around acting like Republicans all day, getting you to kill your own. That's what's going on right now with Loomer and Carlson. They may be trying to make a move to put Vance in, so it may be more serious than you know. So you need to muster the operators that are Republican to look at the Republicans and figure out who's paying. Somebody's paying. It could be the Russians, because the timing points to the Russians. Right? Trump's tried to crush the Russians, and now everybody, and not everybody, but a bunch of people in MAGA, which includes Carlson, who's pro-Russian, is trying to down Trump. So it could have some, not necessarily all, because obviously anti-ICE people and Democrats are paying operators to do stuff, but the Russians may have triggered some of it, and maybe all of it. Who knows? Right? I think it's an attempt to impeach Trump and put Vance in. I don't think it'll make it. I don't think it'll make it, but right, which is good because a lot of the senators are backing Trump right now through this storm. which means you can't be impeached. You could charge him impeachment, but you're not going to impeach him.
Right.
Because the house may fail. Right? I just don't know. We don't know how many people are in that thing. So again, you have a cell of people that support you when something tells them to support you, and then they don't support you when something tells them not to support you. Definitely not Mossad. Yeah, it looks like it's the Russians. Loomer is manipulated by the Russians. Carlson's manipulated by the Russians. Is Alex Jones his name? I forgot his name. What's his name? Alex Jones. Does Trump remember that guy's name? Maybe his name we forgot, right? I think it's the Russians. At least in part, but it's probably Russians. Because Russians may control the Democrats, actually. So you see, all those people they planted, including the people in the Marshal Service, they get like blips right now to go against what Trump's doing with the Epstein thing. And the Russians don't care as long as it muckrakes, Right. But Trump came as strong as he's ever come against Putin, and then it started, if I'm not mistaken, or started in earnest. Again, it could have had little undertows, but. Well, somebody's promising money or blackmailing him money. Zoomer might be blackmailed. Carlson might be blamed. It might be extorted. So they give them money and great life as long as they do what the thing tells them to do. And now the thing is telling them to go against the Epstein thing. Loomer's funny how she's playing it. Because she's trying to act like she's still... She'll do what they tell her to go against the Epstein thing and then act like she supports Trump. It's part of it. It's a scam, You should never listen to. You never should have listened to her. Agreed. Now you may have found that it was beneficial for you to listen to her, but again, now the thing is going against you. It's just probably Russians. Right. Now she's doing stuff like they're doing stuff like backing DeSantis. That's part of the scam, the bait, so that DeSantis doesn't support Trump and Bondi. See what they're trying to do there? Hey, DeSantis, you could be Attorney General. Just go against Bondi, right? Bait. I don't even know why I'm going this way. I actually went the wrong way. I passed where I wanted to turn. Somebody must have willed me somewhere. I wonder where it is. Probably willed me away from what I was trying to do. No, I'm not kidding. The last time this happened with the Sikhs, right? The Yogi Bhajan Sikhs. And they turned out to be some sex cult. They got exposed, but it was still. Well, it wasn't after. It was while they were doing it. They were still doing it in 2021 and 2020, right? I didn't have to be. They were part of what was coming against me after I left their organization. Right? They got money and reach. Again, when you have a yoga empire, you have people in every city. See how that works? So religion and spies go hand in hand because they're international, and they got people in every city. So not only do we find the Ghost Organization, which was a scam entity looking for pedophiles, which I told you existed in Santa Fe. They'd show up around me all the time. And they go, well, why is he talking about it? Because you're showing up. If you didn't show up, I wouldn't talk about it. % Larry. Thanks, Larry. So we also found that the Yogi Bhajan group was SX, and they're probably part of the large thing. There was CIA in there. There's no doubt that they were working for CIA. Some, not all of them, of course. They were actually kind of rogue because they kept backing like the anti central government in India. But again, the CIA will use stuff like that. Like when India doesn't do what they want, then they try to like throw militants at them, and they do what they want. They pull the militants away. Boy, Modi's working the planet, isn't he? No, Modi's all over the place. He wants to be bigger than China. No, it was like whacking my head to see Guru Mustik just like a regular person like everyone else. Because he was always dressed to the T. He was so pro Sikh. Right. Apparently, something changed. Again, I came in good faith and I respected people, so it wasn't like I was like, hating on any of them, to tell you the truth. At a certain point, I got sick of their stuff and I said, look, I'm not the one that was sexual at all. It's your people. And I know this guy was having sex. And I know you have sex with the yoga women. You got to stop that. You got to get this guy under control. You got to control. Don't be looking at me. I mean, he actually was, like, yeah, it was my conquest kind of deal, and he was like, I'm her age, but these guys, the Sikh guys back in Virginia, so she goes to, well, essentially trying to cover up a boss in Virginia, Yogi Bhajan Sikh organization, having sex with her, because whatever the dude who hit the fan for whatever reasons. Thank you, Larry. So. Young lady is kind of just hitting the clowns. Let me heal her, see if she can get more focused. Maybe she'll take some growth hormone and testosterone. or Nortest. Nortest is actually better, especially for women. But right, so next thing I know, he's telling me that he had sex with her, but it's okay because he's not an older guy. But meanwhile, I'm serving, like, I'm like her big brother kind of guy. Right. And I'm not like hanging out with her or anything. Not like everyone else trying to get in her pants, But when I see her, I acknowledge her because she introduced herself. I can't even remember all of it, but she introduced herself. And again, I found out through him some information because he said some stuff to me, right? Which, so she was kind of like an injured party, and she was living with Harry, the former Orthodox Jew guy, the leader of the pack. But we're sitting there eating, or everybody's eating, and I'm serving. I eat after everybody else eats because I'm serving and cooking and serving, right? And so I'm in there and I'm like refilling food, seeing what everybody's okay, or prasad, So I longer, And she walks in and she starts talking to me because I'm the only guy not trying to get in her pants, right? And it's not because I'm gay. Of course, I have thoughts like everybody else. Wow, wish I was 10 years younger or whatever. But and of course, if she comes around me, all the operators that are in the Yogi Bhajan Sikh start willing us to have sex. You see, right? So they're I was very controlled, and but nobody else was because they weren't being willed to have sex with her and were having sex with her. Not everybody, but just one guy. And so Harry's looks at me and goes, "Too young." I'm like, "What?" So everywhere I go, I'm hitting on or trying to hit on people that I'm helping. So this is like the CIA scam that I'm the guy that's hitting on these people instead of taking care of them. Now, of course, I have thoughts in my mind are not like horrible, but like, oh, what about that woman? I'm like, hey, it's too young. But it's the CIA and they're all their little accomplices that are local PDs, FBI, DHS, crooks that sell drugs, crooks that sex traffic, crooks that run sex cults. That's why I try to tell you, I'm the strongest man on the planet. You all don't have to deal with, oh, you must have did something wrong to get yourself in trouble. Yeah, I did what God told me to do. I began healing all the people that you were trying to turn into sex fiends and criminals. Now, if that's trouble, then you're all going to hell. Thank you, sir. So again, it happened. Like I finally got out of there because I was sitting there, and there's a single mother, and she worked at my friend's cafe video. Now he had great luck when I'm around, okay? Because again, you can have great luck. So I'm cooking for him all the time. He's the guy that runs the cook. He's also a musician, but he's a wealthy dude. He's got some spread somewhere in Adobe somewhere in the area. Lived in like Amsterdam for like 10 years. Right. For all I know, he's a dope dealer at this point. But I talked to her and I said, if you ever need somebody to drive you to get shopping or whatever it is, because it's my quote unquote MO, but it's not my grooming MO. It's my saintly MO. If you need a ride, let me know, because I feel bad for people that don't have cars. Again, I could have been in the same predicament if I didn't have that senator. If it wasn't for that senator, they wouldn't let me work another day in my life. Right. Thank you, Larry. Now I wasn't working for them. It was all free. They never taught me anything. I studied it myself. I already excelled in the knowledge of their scriptures before I showed up. So that's why I did a second time. If they're saying, well, why would he go back if that happened? Because I thought and they may not have seen any of it. The CIA and FBI could have blocked it. Right? Or they could have their foreign intelligence cronies do it so that their fingerprints weren't on it. Okay. So I'm driving around a little bit. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'll be shopping at Walmart in a second, but I want to broadcast first. So he starts this, just acting really weird about me talking to her. And I'm just like, nah. But for all I know, he's having sex with her. Right? I'm thinking honest stuff like Guru Mustak. When I saw him not being the spiritual dude, I'm like, oh, not at two, but him too. He must have been involved in this stuff, so now they put him out. Right. Or at least the cover up. So for all I know, he was having sex with her. Or he could have been prostituting around. I don't know. But I'm notorious for that. Again, not notorious, but I'm famous for that. They would say notorious because they would say it's grooming, but it's not grooming. You actually have to try to have sex for it to be grooming. I guess you don't have to, but again, if you call somebody a groomer for 30 years, you actually have to find something where he's trying to have sex or she's trying to have sex. Right. Because without that, it's called charity. Right. That's the scam. People that are sex cult are engaged in charitable religious service. People that aren't, that they don't like, are involved in grooming. Right. But see, that's how the so when the Democrats give out grants, there's only so many people that can even get to the door. It's the people that they say are engaged in honest religious service. Because, 3HO got a ton of government money. Right. Happy, healthy, holy whoredom. It's actually 4HO. So you have to realize where you are now in LDS is where the Sikhs were in like 2012, 13, 14. Right? Actually, they were there in 2005 with the game. Right. Hmm. And where Santa Fe was following that. Right. A lot of people had a lot of shit happen to them. Like, I thought the mayor was with me, but at the end, I think the mayor was taken out because he was playing that game. Right. Right. Well, he had a nephew show up that said that he tried to rape him and have sex with him. Pretty much ended his whatever it is he was doing. We agree, Larry. Here's how it would go, and I wasn't thinking of marrying her. I would not have sex with that lady unless we were married. Or on our, at least, like if God said we were married. And I'm not like a freak I'm not like the guy that went after Elizabeth Smart. Right. Well, before you get civilly married, God has to marry you. And God's not a man in your church. God's not a man in your temple. So in your mind, you have to be sure that God marries you before you get married. And that in due form, or not due, in usual form, showing you the mistakes that I had in life because I was asleep. And I could have, like, my second marriage would have been perfect, or somewhat perfect, because I was awake and I knew all the ins and outs. Well, Hashem, that one, is it real, Hashem? Like, oh, okay, yes, Hashem, we're getting married. Hashem says we're getting married, and they'll go, oh, that's a 15-year-old. I mean, they're nuts. That's their scam. Like, if they don't do that, then the operators don't know which direction to go. They don't. A lot of them don't secretly communicate with the operators. They openly communicate, and they say what the person is, but they're not. It's what they're supposed to turn the person into, and kind of hint and allege that they're that. Right. Like when I do charity, it's grooming. Like, if you're an operator, go, oh, okay, it's grooming. Yes. Right. Believe me, they're going to hell, man. They're full-fledged devils. Oh, but I was in the CIA, God. I mean, I was doing it for CIA. Can you imagine that? That's probably what they think in their head. That's how far religion is fallen. Yogi Bhajan's Sikhs were CIA, okay? And you saw what they were. That's why Justice Department couldn't prosecute those couple cases. Same thing as Epstein. Is Epstein CIA? Not really, but I'm sure they tried to use him. So I think it's Russians. I really think Epstein's Russians. That's what I believe. Now, any spy agency worth its salt is going to try to use that. Again, remember, it's the Cold War. A lot of things going on. Right. Now, if they used it for rogue, then that's not what I'm speaking. So what they're going to do is hocus pocus, re confuse you on what actually is going on and what has happened over the last 30, 40 years. You know, there's no doubt. That's why Yogi Berra was never busted. I think Epstein's too far out there, but I might be wrong. I think Epstein was manipulated in certain ways, and I think people around Epstein, like Trump, were manipulated in certain ways to dirty them. Because once you're around them, you see what they're doing now. Well, I think the Russians are moving Loomer and the others to do that. Now, that may be where their money comes from. In other words, if they don't do what that thing tells them to do, then they're finished. Like, remember when Loomer had nothing? Oh, they're getting me. I have nothing and I'm broke. That's maybe when she signed on. So again, she doesn't show any level of loyalty there to anything. And I don't believe Trump had sex with her. I really don't. Did he have sex with an older girl? Possibly. But you don't get to impeach somebody for something they did, 25 years ago, because the person got elected, and there was knowledge that he was here, there. We already know Trump had sex, okay? No, it looks convincing because they have people everywhere. So all these people coming out of the woodwork are being manipulated most likely by Russian intelligence. The timing is important. Right. No, Democrats, like I said, there are Democrats, there are Republicans that work for Russian intelligence. Or their shadow, manipulated and paid and everything else. And, you know, of course, it's some Democrats. Right? So there is a psyop going, and you can piece it together if you look on X. Right. Thank you, sir. Thanks, sir. Oh, I told you Elon's being motivated by spies. Well, he was gone. He's out there. So Trump had to distance himself, whether you like Trump or not. Elon was just, he was just too much of a loose cannon at that point. But I say it for Elon's own good. He has to get back to reality. Well, because there are people that are probably telling Trump that if he does what Elon says, it's going to be worse than it's going to be again. Right now, inflation is not caused by government spending. Now it could create additional inflation because, of course, anybody that spends money, the issues were, I think, were those unaccountable funds that went into the immigrants, because immigrants will spend the money. Okay, every immigrant you gave that money to spent it right away. See, I've tried to explain how the economy works, and I've been explaining it. That if you take the poor people's money away, it takes a large chunk out of the monthly economy. Right. Whereas if rich people, they don't have a need to spend it. I mean, they spend a lot, but they're not spending everything that you give them. But if you give money to a poor person, they spend all of it. That makes sense. That makes sense. But it looks like Russians to me. people I worked with were probably affiliated with Russians in some way, whether they knew it or not. Yeah, I think Baltimore was owned by the Russians, not the Greeks, the Russians. They probably had an in the Greek community. So anybody that's a power structure, they infiltrate. They infiltrate the church. They infiltrate the Sikhs. They infiltrate the Greeks in Baltimore. The Marshal Service. Right. Thank you, Larry. Nah, there was a certain point, like if you know, there's a certain point where the DOJ says that's it, and they arrested a couple people in Baltimore that were agents, but that wasn't the totality of people that were dirty. That's just the message. Right. Thank you, Larry. I'm not to say they're not dirty today. I mean, they're all one-way people that I work with. I mean, there were a couple like working was an okay guy. Burke was an okay guy. I mean, but they're not going to risk their personal life for anybody. That's what I was doing. You weren't going to kill a deputy on my watch, right? But again, because see, I didn't realize the big picture. Like Jim told me, your coworkers aren't courageous. What does that got to do with that? No, they never stop. It's one long criminal conspiracy. What's going on in that church is related to criminal conspiracy in Baltimore. Right. I don't care. If you want to violate my religious rights, keep doing it. It's bad. What people would say is bad karma. Well, since you did that to me, you're closer to being exposed, whatever it is, and whatever you're doing. It's not honest, and I know that, and everybody else really knows that. You're the closest you have ever been to being exposed if you have any dirt. I'll just tell you that right now. That's the way God works. Excuse me. Thank you. No worries. Oh, maybe it's in a different section. Oh, we got the big Mr. Clean. We had that. Wait, is this one big? Oh, it's two times concentrated. I got plenty of cleaner at home right now. I try to explain to you. I don't play the game, so you can't use the game against me. That's why you succeed for so long because everybody plays the game. So when you use the game on somebody that plays the game, then you get some. But if you use it on somebody that, well, just give it time. You'll see. That nothing to do with me being violent. I know that's what they're going to try to say. Right. Thank you. How you doing? So at first, like when DHS released the statement that you weren't after that guy, well, you were in a situation where, because at first they made it sound like he wasn't, not DHS, but the reports made it sound like he wasn't even here illegally, right? Because they took the because you're trying to figure out how to shape it, which something like that's a tragedy. You're trying to say, well, look, we were just there looking for people, certain people, and again, he could have got caught up in it. But if you're an American citizen, generally, let's say we have people that embezzled from a bank. Police pull up, knock on the door, they answer the door, and they don't run out the back door. I mean, some people do. No. But see, that's what Homan's telling you. He's not telling you it's because they're Latino. I mean, but yeah, I mean, physical appearance, if you have a photo and it looks like the photo, obviously, if they're Latino and they run and you have ice on your shirt, obviously something's there. That's what he's telling you. That's what he's talking about physical appearance. Or like when I'm in the store and I wear a blue line hat and somebody cuts their eyes real quick. Sometimes it's hard not to. Healing people in here. If Walmart's a crazy, wonder what I'm doing. I'm walking around healing people. One of the employees there had something going on as far as metaphysically. Actually, a couple of them already. And I guess I have to look it up on the phone. But I'm also looking for the wasp stuff. I have to kill the wasps. Oh no. No, that's not code there, FBI psychologist. Yeah, because it's really wasp, right? I go inside some Protestants. Oh wait, I'm stuck here. You can't go down this aisle and get out the other side. Oh no, but something is going on. Hang on. I just looked at the kills. So we have to heal something. We have to heal something. I'm seeing something. There's something dangerous going to happen. It might involve white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Thank you, Larry. We need to heal that. Whatever it is, I can't. Oh wait, hardware. Are you following anybody that bought anything from like a hardware, like Lowe's, right? Or Home Depot? Okay, the person is feeling suffocated. Something's going on in their life. Or maybe it's in the outdoor section. Thank you, Walmart gods. Actually, the Walmart gods is Shannon. Heal her. Okay. Yeah, the girl with the purple hair. There's something wrong with her, like metaphysically. I'm trying to heal her. Let's see it in their facial expressions. Right. I think it's there. So the person feels suffocated. So they're psychologically feeling suffocated. And it could be something physical causing it also. Thank you, Mary. Can you heal it? Well, if we heal the person, maybe they won't have that situation in their mind. Right. I can't find the wasp spray. Maybe I was already looking at it. Oh, maybe down here. This is the RFK hate aisle, the weed and grass killer. He'll kill you. Get out of there, Mueller. He'll kill you. So how does RFK Jr. take out a wasp nest? sure if I looked online, they would tell me. And as a multimillionaire, he probably could succeed at that. I can't find it. It would be. Oh, here it is. Oh no, that's not it. There's a special spray, like a long distance sprayer. They said it was at Walmart. Wasp and Hornet from Raid. I only need one, right? It's a small. Kills the entire nest. Twist to snap off. Yeah, I'm only going to be here for a short amount of time at this particular residence. Oh, here it is over here too. Spectricide. Spectricide kills the nest. Is this the 20-foot? I was looking for this on the Raid where it's a 20-foot. You know, imagine it is. Oh no, this one is weird. This one says directly into the nest opening. This one doesn't say to do that. Yeah, this one sounds like it's more where I'm at. 20-foot jet stream of foam. So what's the difference between this one and that one? Oh, this is like the other one, probably. This, oh, 27 non-staining formula. Now, the other one's more expensive, even though, wait, no, this is, I don't know. This one doesn't say foam. I think foam will give me a better view of what's happening. Right. I'd go with the foam. It's not that big. You know, if I wait for maintenance to get there, it might be big by the time they go. They're really busy. I know they are because they just had some emergency. I don't know if it was at our development or another one that was similar, where they, may have had a fire maintenance somewhere, and right. They just had some emergency where our maintenance people were offline somewhat, and now they're back online. Right. I think one here. And, so, like, if I would avoid cash from every Walmart I would go to. They would put people like they're bearing false witness people. That's another thing. They're bearing false witness in that church. Those people that are doing this. So again, that's a big one. Remember that. Well, if you go to hell, you may want to ask why. Right? You know, I mean, but that's what they would do. They put people in. Oh, he said this. We said that, and then they go, "Oh, we were mistaken. We just really care about this guy. We don't want him to do something that harms himself or someone else for a while. We really care." That's one of their scams. How they care about everybody involved. We really care. Still another Walmart work. The guy on the feel the people in the electric carts. All right. So what else do I need? I need something down here right now. Not that. Hmm. Well, what they're doing is they're creating an aversion to going to LDS churches. That's what they're trying to do. There's a lot of stuff going on around it also, not just what's going on there. Oh, the devils, whoever it is. Okay, let's tell you, I don't know who it is, but I know there's a couple people that are part of it. If it's the president of the ward or the president of the state, then they're devils. It's just how that works. There's no different standard for the president of the ward or the president of the state. It's not rocket science. I mean, a lot of people will try to make it look like rocket science to confuse people. Right. Maybe this is it. I don't know what else I might need here. Okay. Okay. Well, you're not sinners, and you're not going to repent of it and get up from it. I mean, you are the thing we wrestle against. Thank you. Now, maybe in hell you will. I mean, there is a salvation down there in hell that could save people that go to hell. I'm sure of that. But, again, why risk staying in hell for maybe a million years until you get out? Rich. Let me think here. I'm hungry for this stuff. I think you did it again. It did sound while I'm over in the vegetarian aisle. Oh, and he took the local bread that I bought, the bread I buy here, and took the last one and put it up here. But not acting the way you expected me to act. Didn't trigger a gooning episode. They triggered. There's a Walmart sound they use to freak people out that they're doing it to. They just launched it. How many? 16. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to trigger a gooning episode. They'll tell you like, Well, that's his mental illness, and we're just trying to test and see what's happening. We care about everyone. So what they're trying to do is cause an aversion to uh, using the sodium-free bread. Again, it's the same thing of an aversion to the gym, an aversion to massage therapy. But again, they're committing egregious felonies, and you won't be arrested. Fine, keep projecting that. That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. If it's the truth, then fine. But you'll go to hell, and there's no way out. Well, again, it's the whole superior, supremacy thing. We're less of a sinner than you, though. We've been counting sins since you've been here. I think I'm get one more of those. Not using those all that much. I use the bread with sodium a little bit with the tofu and the curry sauce because I don't put sodium in the curry sauce. Like sodium is the because if you cut your sodium too much, you get lightheaded and stuff like that. Should I keep doing something? Trying to get to a certain aisle. Now, if you're putting people around me, I'm not looking for anybody in the store. That would be an illusion and a fraud in reality. Again, they've been doing this for decades, so they have every scam angle, story to tell you all day long. Look at the sodium in it. That's 25 tablespoons. So if I use 2 tablespoons, that's not good because it'll give me too much sodium. It'll be 200 milligrams in just the mayo if I use 2 tablespoons. I have to try to drop the sodium in the plant-based mayo. It's up too high. Now this person's in there where I need to go. I get over here. Excuse me. No worries. I'll get this out of your way. No worries. I bought it anyway. Like Shannon said, my sodium doesn't have to go down as low as I believe. And it might be detrimental to me being able to walk, take my walks and everything else. Oh, it's also it's a move. It's a Nazi move, right? So actually, Putin, for all that show about hating Nazis, he's into the whole Nazi thing. He just used it. the anti-Nazi stance. Right. So what they're trying to, we're trying to empower the Nazis, right? Because you see, like they walk down on Tucker, right? Right. They just put it all together. It's not separate. Right. No, part of it, I think, at this point, is trying to get rid of Trump. Also, we don't know where Vance stands on all that. I wouldn't think he's a Nazi, but we don't know. Might have a secret past, or like, okay, they could do a psychological analysis and then detect that maybe they could convince him of it. Right? Well, it's part of the Russians have to use that Nazi no Nazi thing to get themselves forward, right, on their psyops. Right, they don't look at it like we would look at it. They just look at it as enabling and empowering a psyop. Personal preferences doesn't matter. They're so rich that it's never going to affect them and their families. Right. 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 They seek to control it and use it. The whole Nazi no Nazi thing. Nah, the Russians are behind the Nazi thing because if they're behind the Nazi thing, then they can come against it and use it, right? And then they can also, you know, try to. Again, it's the same thing with Epstein, right? A way to influence people and to make people do what they want, right? Yeah, the Russians are making their move because Trump shut Putin down. Well, that's probably why you have problems with Loomer and everyone else. They messed up everything years ago when they brought those gangs in. Like I told you, no gangs. If you didn't use those gangs, you'd have had a second term. I'll tell you that right now. Again, karma. Have a great day, ma'am. So it's got a. I got a buzz from Good Eyebrows. It's a, like I think it's a, I don't know if it's Filipino. It's an Asian-based nail manicure place. So it came out Good Eyebrows. Oh no, it's Miracle Eyebrows. Miracle Eyebrows. So somebody's noticing that I engaged in miracle activity over my lifetime. Oh, who am I? I'm a sinner saved by grace, right? When the angels come to earth, that's who we are. Right? It's a mechanism that God uses, for people that you don't accept all of you in your other religion. Like if you're Jewish and they put I got stuff in my car now. My van too much. I gotta get the storage. The nice people at Walmart. Hey, they're being nice to you. We have to go make sure they're not. I mean, this is really what they've been doing for 30 years, hiring sex cults and stuff. No, Epstein is just the one everybody knows. Like, there's people that pay to focus everybody on Epstein, so we don't focus on Silicon Valley. You see who some of the culprits are. No, Silicon Valley's always been a sex cult. You see, and they're part of it too. So it could be all. So I was convinced Russians took over Silicon Valley, and that's being proven right now. The spy craft, right? Yeah, must be manipulated. I wouldn't have the health problems I have if people I speak about, and they're still active in it. So leave it up to God, like I did before. But tomorrow is not going to be the same as today. Definitely next year is not going to be the same. Because I have faith that God will have you all understand that you're not to do what you did to my life. You know how many people were in this thing? You know how many times it changed hands? It's a larger number of people than Samson had to go against in his short life. Mm. Again, you'll make your stories like you always do and try to drug me or make me sick physically so it affects my psychology or something like that. But again, God will get you. All right, I got to go now. I got to focus on driving.